How's everybody doing today? Welcome to my photo editing live stream where you can submit your images before the stream starts, and I edit them here for you live using DxO Photolab 8. And as always, uh, you know, um, I always do my best, and everything I do here is, the editing that I do is subjective. It's just how I would edit the picture for my own, and it's in no means a critique of what you're doing or how you took the photo. It's just simply how I would edit it. And I may just verbally give some ideas about composition or lighting, along the way. But again, it's subjective and it's just my own opinion. So don't take it too seriously. Take it with a grain of salt, as they say. So let's see. We'll go ahead and get started. And I need to pull up. So I see Corey's here. How you doing, Corey? And so you have a portrait you want me to edit? Yep, I think I saw that. It's like a wedding shot. And Garrett's here. Looks like you also have a portrait. I assume that's a self-portrait. And Paul, good to see you. And I see William's here and Steve. Good to see you guys. So we'll just go ahead and get right into it. And for those of you that may be watching because you're curious about DxO Photolab, I'll have my affiliate links down below. You can download a free trial, and if you order anything, I'll make a commission. So just full disclosure on that. But this stream is primarily about just editing your photos. Okay. Let's see my share screen button, and hopefully you get a chance to see how the tools are used. Get some ideas on how to uh, edit different types of, or do different kinds of things with the different kinds of tools that we have. So we'll start here with one from Robert, and let's see. I love the colors in this, and compositionally everything looks good. I mean, a lot of people find power lines distracting, but it is what it is. I don't mind them actually, personally, but I think I will crop a little bit. Maybe let me just apply basic preset, which again is simply optical corrections and denoising. I do that to all my images. And I'm going to try 16 by 9. Let's see if this looks wide. It's like I said, there are power lines up there, but we can minimize that to some extent. Okay, so that's top and bottom. Let's look at the left and right sides. I'm always conscious of my corners and where the subject is. So this is a nice subject here in the center with the boat, and with a just beautiful backdrop of colorful buildings here. So the question is, how much do I want to do with the color? Sometimes I like to just oversaturate everything and just see where everything is. Or typically I will underexpose and overexpose images, just to kind of get a feel for the lighting and the colors, uh, and then how I want to go from there. So there's a very strong hint of blue and yellows here. And then of course the reds and pinks in between. So I think I'm going to, let's see, we have some green. And when I think about color, I try to think about the complementary colors or contrasting, opposite colors. So the greens really stand out pretty strong from these trees too. So let me see. I think I'll just push the red, greens, blues, yellows, I mean, all of them, but maybe let me just look at the colors one more time. The yellows aren't as strong as aren't quite as strong, but I like there's a nice triangle of yellow here, and then there's a triangle of green. And then the blue, let's go with maybe we can kind of frame the blues right in here. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to our local adjustments, and I'm going to start with the excuse me, the greens here. Just do a simple saturation like so. And then we're going to go next to, let's see, this yellow, and this yellow. And saturate those. Okay. And then let's go to the blues. Some blues in here. A little bit of blue here and here and here. All right, I like that. Now, let's see if we can brighten that sky a little bit. It's a little bit kind of dull. Okay. We'll make a new control point. And I'm going to darken the water here. Let's move this over. Usually I like to do clear view plus on the water and then pull the blacks in even more just to make it look nice and glossy. And actually a little bit of a push in the yellows and maybe the reds there. Let's do the reds. Okay, I like that. And I'm going to back off the blues again. I think it was this one. I need to back this off just a little bit. Let me go over here. Maybe brighten them a tiny bit. There we go. All right. Okay, what I'm going to do now, just going to do a quick comparison. I'm going to back off the green a little bit. So it was, here are the greens. Okay, and then let me And work on the water. Just pull the highlights a tiny bit. Well, and the micro contrast, that's too shiny. I might back off the micro contrast a little bit just to smooth out a little bit of the crispiness there. Okay, I'm going to try one more thing. And some of these more neutral colors. Uh, tighten the, let me tighten the Luma mask a little bit. Okay. I'm going to try and bring these down. Maybe, yeah, because they were just a little bit too bright. Then I'm going to work on I'm going to do sort of a vignette right here. So I'm going to invert this. Pull back the chroma and Luma mask. And then just bring the exposure down. Bring it down a bit. Let me go to the global side. If I do that, no. And just brighten it back up again. Hmm. Not sure that worked too well. Okay. Let's see how that. All right, I think that's what I'll go with. I'm just not quite happy with sort of the water in here. Let me just bring the brightness down a little bit. All right. I'll just bring this up again. All right, I think I'll go with that. So we'll export this. Whoops. Put this in the original folder. And let's do a side by side. All right, so here's the original on the right, and here's the edit on the left. And yeah, so I wanted to basically push, the colors more individually, more of the primary colors, and then sort of the colors in between, make them a little bit more neutral. And then, of course, I wanted to add some light right here in the center to highlight the two men here in the boat, but I didn't want to darken the entire scene. Uh, so I had to kind of do it in steps, right? Kind of darken the scene, brighten the center, then brighten the scene, and then adjust the center where I went back and I sort of darkened this area again. But now that's pretty close. That's pretty close to what I would leave it at. And if we do a slider view, and then of course the crop, because we don't need to see all that sky. Particularly, we don't need to see all of those power lines. But even if there's power lines left there, it's fine. I like to keep as much information that was in the original scene as possible. I'm a little bit more of a, uh, I don't know what you would say. I forget what they say, like more of a photorealist type, I guess. I don't know. All right, so very nice. Thank you, Robert, for sending that one. Let's go to the next one. And, oh, we have, what do they call these? A puffing? I forget what you call these things. Uh, Puffin. Yeah, it's a puffin with a mouthful of fish. How do they do that? I'll have to visit sometime where they have puffins. I'm just curious how they pick up so many fish at once. All right, let's do a basic preset. This one is from William. We'll do a square crop. And we definitely need to come in very, very tight. We're not even going to get 1 megapixel on this image probably. So that's 1 megapixel right there. Uh, Not much left. And then we'll, I think we can maybe just keep it simple. Just do a simple vignette. Oops. Just do a basic vignette. Let me invert that. Like that. Even give it maybe a little bit of a tint by adjusting the white balance. Okay, and let's give a little bit of color to the eye. Oops. Got it back out. Okay, so eyes, beak, and talons. This is what I typically go for with birds. Tighten up the chroma mask a little bit. There's just so few pixels to work with here. Okay, so let's do that. And we'll brighten those. Give it some clear view. Let's get rid of this one. Maybe just one more here, but really small. Right in here. Nah, that's not working. Okay, we'll leave it alone. All right. We'll export that and see what we get. Okay, so if we reset and do a side by side, it's a little bit of artifacting here. So that's because we've cropped. Just to give you an idea, uh, we cropped right into here about 1 megapixel. So there's not a lot of detail left. The bird itself is probably maybe even a 1/4 megapixel of the image. So I don't think there's much more I can do here. Let me just, whoops. Let me just take a quick look at the original again. Let me do this. Let me go back. Just make this a little bit smaller. A bit tighter on the Luma. And on the detail, I think what I'll do is, I'm gonna back this off to about here. See if that helps. So I'm using the loop tool to kind of punch in and see if I can adjust the deep prime. Kind of, I mean, okay, that's too low. Yeah, that's too much. I think the default setting was fine. Just back off a little bit. Then I'm gonna add just a little bit more light right here. Okay, let me do that. Just a very subtle change. Okay. So here's the original on the right. I think that works. I need to work on this vignette a little bit more, but dang it. That vignette is bothering me. I'm sorry. Maybe just pull it down this way. Something like that. Try that. Okay. All right. Yeah, I like that better. Okay. So I think that's not bad. I think we recovered quite a bit. Uh, Considering we started with just that tiny thing up to this. At least now you can see he's carrying fish, and there's a little bit of detail in the body and a little more sparkle in the eyes and color. all of that stuff. Maybe another quarter stop on the brightness, but I think that looks pretty good. Okay. Let's go to thank you, William, for sending that one. Yeah, super far away at 400 millimeters, right? I get that. Oh, nice portrait. Just straight out of camera. I think all I would do, it's not much to be done here. Really good lighting. Um, Let me check the crop. Maybe not that tight. Let's try 5 by 4. Whoops. And I usually like the nose to be right in the center. So I think that works. Then from here, just need a tiny bit of fill. So I'm thinking, go very tight on the chroma. See if I can tighten that up. I'm just going to add a tiny bit of fill. Okay. All right. And then, wow, the lighting's coming top left. So I might just add a little bit more here. And I'm going to tighten up the chroma. I'm just spotting here. I'm not going to use that control point, but I just wanted to see if I could add a little bit more top-down light. Maybe just a brush. Where's my feather? Feather's at 100. Let me turn the flow down. I'm just going to try. Not getting the effect that I want. Let me start over. Just about there. Just wanted to add a little bit right in here. Okay. All right, let me just do a quick. Okay. I mean, I'm kind of over processing a bit. The image didn't need this much work, but I just wanted to see how far I can take it. Just a little bit stronger shadow. Okay. And a touch there. You know, I just realized the screen and the brightness and the colors that you guys are seeing in the stream are not the same as mine. Uh, let me try, shoot. Let me turn on the soft proofing. I don't know. It's pretty close, but okay, I'm gonna leave the soft proofing on. It's still not quite the same. What I'm seeing on my screen is a little brighter than what you guys are seeing on the live stream, I think. It's hard for me to tell, but just keep that in mind. What I see on my screen sometimes is a little different than what you guys are getting. Okay, I think that's it. So let me do an export. It didn't need much, just very, very subtle changes. Maybe, okay, one more correction before we're done. I'm gonna do 50% opacity. Just knock out that tiny bit of shine there. Okay, now we're done. Then reset and do it side by side. All right, so here's my edit here on the left versus the original on the right. And I think it was really good just straight out of camera. So just a little bit of a crop, and I like to center the nose usually in the portraits. And then I usually do this with lighting in my studio, right? But I like to light up the shoulders from the top. So I tried to mimic that a little bit with light painting here. And then of course there'll be a little bit of spillage here and on the collar, but uh, yeah, really, really awesome job, Garrett, in lighting here. You know, basically you have, gosh, you got a nice fill light coming from the right, nice top light coming in this way, and then a light behind you. It's really nice. I wonder if we do this, if it would be more obvious the changes. So this is just a tiny bit flat, but that's expected with a raw image. And then this, I think, just has a little bit more pop. But yeah, pretty awesome. Okay, very good. Let's see, we got one here from Bert. Okay, so this is a building with a painting on it, or is it a billboard? It's got to be a building because it's got all kinds of HVAC stuff on top. It's interesting. All right, so I'm going to do a basic preset again. And then I'm going to do just a perspective or perspective correction. Let me, ah, that doesn't look right. So I'm going to just do a slight crop. I'm sorry, not crop, but tilt. Yeah, that's better. All right, let's look at composition. So we have this really beautiful cloud here and this chimney stack. I like this part here. This building and this road and this row of cars, I don't know. Maybe we don't need all of that. Hmm. Hmm. I'm thinking here. This is just a weird angle because you're definitely pointing up when I crop it this way. If I forget about that chimney and just kind of stick with this. This is a little better perspective. Okay, let me look at the entire image again. Because it's either this, then I'll go with this. I just don't have any way to include this. Okay, I think I'll go with this. And it needs a slight tilt back. Let's give the sky a little bit of depth. And let's darken this road a little bit. Go up to about there. Tighten up the chroma. Okay. Okay. Give it a little bit of texture there with micro contrast. And then there's a little bit of color over here. So let's accentuate some of the reds. Actually, maybe I can do that with just a color wheel. Go over here. 'Cause there's some reds sprinkled in this image that I'd like to bring out. And actually, there's a tiny bit of yellow too. So let's do that. Okay, now I want to kind of spread the dynamic range of this scene just a little more, because I flattened this out because it was too bright. But not sure. Let me see if I do this. Thinking something closer to this. Let me think here. So I don't really need this bright area over here. But I want to maintain the midtones. Okay. I'm going to get rid of some of this down here. By get rid of, I mean just darken it so it's not so dominant in the picture. Maybe not that way. Let's try just pulling the blacks. Okay. We're almost there. Just going to make this a little bit punchier. Okay. Go back to this road. Might have pushed a little bit. One second. Okay. Very good. Yeah, I was working on this road, so let me brighten this a tiny bit. All right, I think that's it. So let me export that. Doesn't really need an export. I can just show it this way. But I think, yeah, I was struggling a bit with the overall composition. I wanted to save this chimney here, but I would have had to basically keep the entire scene or cut off the road. But then without the road, the perspective is weird. Because this is so much higher than from where you're standing. I didn't think that it looked too good. So if you look at this image here, you know, I darkened everything except the building. And the building I sort of emphasized with a little bit of brightening and contrast. And then a little push in the reds, just to give that picture a little bit of accents here in the foreground. If we look at it this way, you can see And then straightening, of course, right? Because it's crooked. But yeah, I think that looks a lot better. Okay. Very good. Thank you, Bert, for sending that one. And we'll go to the next one here. And I'm trying to find my buttons here. Okay, so we have one here from Corey. So this is a raw image. What's going on with the color? Auto white balance. That's interesting. Okay. I'm used to seeing a little bit warmer colors from Nikon. And compositionally, we need to balance it a little bit. So let me apply basic preset. And I want to crop and straighten a tiny bit. Because this building is warped. A tiny bit of, let me see if the auto perspective, yeah, that's better. Okay. That's better. And then let me center these guys. Okay. See how that looks right there. Okay, that's better, I think. Not really a wedding guy. I don't, I've never, well, I've shot weddings, but not for money. You know, I did it for a friend. Oops, I'm sorry. I did a wedding. I did 2 weddings for friends where I was the primary photographer, but I've never been paid to do one. Okay, so this composition looks okay. What we need to do is just de-emphasize a little bit of the surroundings. I want to warm it up a little bit first. What happens if I just, yeah, that's better. It just needed a hint of warming. And then let's brighten the face a little bit. Just push the midtones. And let's darken the image. Okay. If I do this, problem is the guy's shoes. Let's do it this way. I need to see the mask. Tighten up the, okay. see if I can do a negative on his suit. Oh man, it's not working. I gotta try something else here. Maybe just do some control points. Okay. And then just push. In here. I need to brighten the pants a little bit. Okay. And that. Okay, and then just brighten the dress. Brighten her now this time. Okay. And if I can do a little bit in the eyes and the teeth. Okay. And I'm going to do a global push here. And let's get rid of some of the highlights here. Oops. Need to. Uh, Pull this back a little bit. All right, let me see where I'm at. Ba, ba, ba. The only other thing I'm thinking about is that sky is bothering me just a bit. But I kind of like the very tall, sort of the taller feel, the more vertical crop. I need to get there. Yeah, I think I'll leave it there. The original 3x2 is not bad. Maybe just a tiny bit here. Right there. And then I don't know. Let me think. I hate to do it, but I like this white border down here on the bottom. I'd rather the couple were more in the bottom of the frame too. Unless I come all the way down. I don't like putting them in the top of the frame too much. So my original Okay, I'm going to go with this crop. All right, so let me export that. And we'll reset and just do a side by side. Okay. So like I said, I'm not really a wedding portrait guy, but really the image just needed to be a little warmer. And then they needed to sort of pop from the image a little bit more. So basically I just brighten them up and then darken the rest of the scene. But not too much. Not too much. I probably could have done a little more right here. Just a little bit. But I really want to try to make the street as black or dark as possible too. But I think that looks pretty good. Um, let me just try just a little bit in here. Nah, I'm getting a little bit too much. Yeah, just the way I had it was fine. This is fine. Just the way it is. Okay. So yeah, I think this is a lot, not a lot, but it's a little better. A little more pop on the couple here in the center. Okay. Let's go to, and thanks, Corey. Nice to have you send an image in. Really, really nice image. Okay, here's one from John. I've seen this tree a couple times, I think. This is tough, but I like this crop. Um, and the snow. This is going to be a tough one. Let me see what else. Let me try square crop. Hmm. Okay. And I'm going to just pull in the ground. Pull in some of the highlights. Maybe do a graduated from this. Whoops. I need a new. Maybe from. God, the lighting is really soft, but then the snow is making all this contrast. Hmm. I'm going to try and soften this image up a little bit. I'm going to pull the contrast way back. Let's do it here. I don't need this control line at all. Let's go to, give me a second. Push this, pull that. Okay. Let's see where I'm at here. Yeah, let's do. A little brighter. Maybe give the white balance a little warmer, but pull the greens in. No, a little bit cooler. Okay, and then I'm back to the highlights here. Okay, I think I'll call it here. I just wanted a lower contrast image. That's not really doing anything. Maybe a push and pull here. Now, what's causing that? That's fine. Okay. Then go back to the color. Mm. See the reds. I think that's what I'll do. And then I'm just going to check the black and white. Yeah, that works. And if I split tone it with the selenium, highlights, no, just a tiny bit. And selenium in the shadows. Okay. I don't know if a vignette would make sense. Can try. Um, Not really. Doesn't really need a vignette. I think I'll leave it there. So let's export that. And we'll compare side by side. You reset it. Oh, wait. It's not quite done yet. Okay. Okay, so here's the original on the right. And then this is my edit here. Basically, when the scene is really super busy like this, um, and it's relatively already monochromatic, there's really only greens and dark tones. There's really no other colors there. So I think converting the black and white helps eliminate some of the distraction from the green, and then just lowering the contrast. Uh, it's a very soft image relative to the lighting is very soft, right? So there's not even it's really awkward because you got snow, which is causing these very strong highlights. Then it's a cloudy day, so that's also causing some extra contrast that otherwise wouldn't be there. So again, that's why I lowered the contrast as much as I can. You can saw I had the sliders pushed all the way to the maximum 0, right? The lowest level I can. But then this allows you to see some of the details in the tree trunk and not get too distracted by what's going on up in here. But you can kind of focus on, I think, more of the branches and the trunk here. So I think that came out pretty good. Uh, so that's my edit, and that's the original. Then it's a slight crop to 4:3. Cropping's not that quite critical here, but uh, just that contrast. Then I add a little selenium tone to the shadows and a bluish, or they call it gold, I don't know why, but kind of a bluish tint in the highlights, just to kind of keep that cool feeling rather than going full on monochromatic. All right, let's go to the next one. Thank you. Who was that? That was John. Thank you, John. So I have one here from Serge. Okay. This one is already pretty soft. But then the lighting, okay, let me just apply a preset. Gosh, these Woodland photos are really tough for me. So I got these two trees here. We got the light coming in here and here, and a little bit spilling back in here. Hmm. Doesn't work. Okay, we're getting there. Back to a 3:2. Hmm. Just wish the light was going in the other direction. Because this side's the better side in terms of lighting. But then this frickin' tree right here is bothering me. But I like the lighting everywhere else. If I try to crop with that tree out, the lighting's not quite as good on this side. So I think, whoops. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the right side. I mean, the lighting's not quite as good on this side, but we'll work with this. So we have some little bit of reds here with these leaves and greens. So let's go much darker. And then we'll just fill in where we need to. I'm gonna go to the colors. I'm gonna pick this leaf here. Whoops. I didn't mean white balance. I meant to get the eyedropper for the color. Oh, come on. What did I double click just now? Ah, here it is. So it's kind of an orangey. If I shift it a little bit red, maybe not that much, just a tiny bit. Okay. And then let's see if we can grab a green and let's tighten that up a little bit. Maybe I'll do that with, let me try. I was thinking about shifting it a little bit yellow, but let me see if just moving the white balance makes more sense. Yeah, that's better. And we'll pull back. Yeah, let's pull back on the magenta. And then the greens. Just a slight tilt. Okay. Maybe not. All right. Contrast. Let's see. There we go. And then the highlights, I'm going to go in here. Let's just push on the highlights. Okay. Then maybe a spot. Just going to do a quick spot on the shadows. All right. Okay, micro contrast, same thing. I'm going to pull those back. Just to soften the image a bit. Let me go back to my highlights. That's too much. Let me try a new control line. Tighten up the luma. All right. I kind of lost my greens here, but I want to bring those back. What did I do to my greens? Maybe I took, no, I can pull them back in a tiny bit. I overdid it with this control line. Something got weird along the way. Is it this one? Let me check something. Yeah, okay. All my greens that I had are all down in here. Because suddenly the picture it just needs more green, but I clipped them all to black down here, so I'm afraid if I try to bring them back this way, let me see. It's going to be a problem. Try again. What did I do to the greens? They're right here. No. All right, I think I'll end it there. All Yeah, I'm just going to call it here. This was tough. Hopefully this export's okay. I'm really worried about in this area here. I'm just not quite happy with that. It's got to be this control line. And all right. Okay, so yeah, here's the original on the right. So as I was saying earlier, this tree was just bothering me. This tree, I don't like this cut one here either. This stick is not great, but you know, I wanted to create some dynamic range in the scene by pushing the highlights and pulling the shadows. But when I did that, I lost the greens in the image. I really like these greens. There's some green here. Dang it. If I could get that green back a little bit, then I would be done. Let's just do a split view. So there's the original. And there's the edit. And if I kept working on this, I would work on the greens. That's definitely where this image needs more work. But that's like 90% there. All right, so let me go ahead and I think that's it, right? Oh, no, there's one more here. All right. This one's from Paul. Okay. This is the same field that we got the eagles from before. What is, oh, those are tree stems. Okay. But is there anything here other than this tree? I assume that's what this is. A picture of this tree. Oh yeah, Paul, that's right. I was going to ask you guys to send your edits. I'll look for that. I'll look for that after I edit yours. Okay. So this one really seems to be about this tree. And you're using the grass here to lead your eye to it. There's too much grass, I think. So maybe let me just crop in a little bit tighter for now. Now I'm losing. If we balance this like that, give it a slight tilt. Monochromatic. I don't know, man, the greens this week. A lot of green colors this week. And see if we can just pull these. Ooh, why is it? I'm just looking. Just need to bring those in a little bit. Okay. It's fine. That's not new. Hold on. Plus, okay. Do that. Come in some more. Tighten up the luma. Make it a little warmer. I'm sorry, make this a little cooler. Okay. Okay, this green can come back. And then we'll do let's try another control line. Trying to think lighting wise. Okay. And then let's do might be better off with a brush, but let me see how far I can get with this. Okay. I doubt this brush would work. Kind of. Do that. That's too much. Let's just work with that. Warm it up a bit. Okay. Same thing here. A little bit of push. Shadows, a little bit of warmth. Okay. Back here. A bit of warmth, some clear view, contrast. Okay. Then let's go up here. It's a bit too much. Why is this so bright? Let me pull that back a little bit. Okay. Oops, too strong. Where's... Back that off a little bit. There. A little bit there. All right. And a little bit less green. Or cooler, warmer. Okay, let's try. Oops, I'm sorry. I need to experiment just with one more thing. Okay. Mm, right about there. All right, I'm gonna call it there. Wow, that was tough. You guys are really, really pushing me this week. Let's see. God, I don't know. I don't know if I whoops, knocking everything. Um, okay. So here's the original on the right. And I didn't like this part of the foreground. So I got rid of it. And basically I just had to separate the tree to some extent from the background of all these other trees. I didn't do the best job. I need to fix a little bit in here. It's a little bit of spillage of the lighting, but for the most part, that's the general direction I would go in. Uh, and then just a little vignette down here. We don't need a vignette up here, just down in here. So it should be a little brighter right in here. Uh, but there's the final image. I really like it a little bit brighter in here. Yeah, that's better. Just a little brighter in the center. And am I still in the soft proofing mode here? No, there. Okay. There you have it. Um, so Paul says he had a very similar crop. So yeah, last week I had alluded to you guys send your edits of your own pictures of the ones that I'm editing, and then we can kind of compare what you did versus what I did. I didn't really push that a lot. I was just kind of spitballing last week. I'll have to give that some more thought, and maybe I'll set up a stream dedicated that way. Uh, but let's see. Let me see if I can find what Paul did, and we'll compare what his edit is. But you guys really challenged me today, let me tell you. Uh, oh, I see a couple of more edits came in. All right, so I'll get to these. One more from looks like Avari. So if I download this one and this one, where is it downloading to though? Hopefully to the, yeah, save that there. And then one more. Where is it? Is it gonna save or not? Okay. So let's see. This was my edit here. This is Paul's. So if we do a side by side with Paul's edit. Oh wow, Paul went a lot brighter across the board. Oh, hold on, you can't see that. Let me go back to the stream. So there's Paul's edit. So you just brightened everything in the background together with the tree, and there's a lot more green on that tree I see over in here. Okay, pretty close. Like I said, the crop is very close. But I pushed the greens down here without pushing any reds. So I probably would back this off, kind of like you did over here. Okay, and then let's see. Bert, and you gave yours more of a glow, but let me see. That's Bert's. This was mine, I believe, yeah. So set that as reference. Okay, so I think someone in the stream had suggested to do a vertical. And yeah, that's a lot better. I love that cloud over the top. Your edit's much better than mine. We kind of had the same idea about the painting on this building. We both made sure that was nice and clear. And you also straightened it. But yeah, I think your edit's a lot better. Good job. Good job, Bert. I like yours better. I love this cloud. I think that really, it's a little heavy on the building, but I think that really makes the image. I should have tried a vertical when someone had suggested it earlier. So, but I was kind of stuck on, this road for some reason. I just felt like, yeah, this vertical crop's a lot better way to go. Not just because of the cloud, but this building is already kind of wide. So doing a wide crop, I feel like isn't necessary. A vertical crop works better for this building too. It just makes the building more front and center. And then you have this nice cloud framing it. So yeah, good job, Bert. I think that's a lot better. And then yeah, I think Paul was saying you desaturated your greens here, obviously. But then you pushed them up here, or just brightening actually added the versus what I did. Okay. Let's see what you guys did with my image. My original is where? That looks like the original, kind of. Nope. This is there we go. So this is the original image, and let me set that as the reference. And we'll start over here. So this one here is by Paul. So Paul added some lighting here and a pole. But what's weird to me is that the lighting down here is blue, and then you got orange lights up here. So this is definitely a creative choice, right? Interesting. Interesting creative choice to have blue highlights down here with orange lights up here. And then adding these, again, another creative choice. I get it, though. I kind of see where you're going. It has a nice balance to it overall. It'd have been interesting to see a little bit of a blend of the lighting that you added here with the orange, kind of mixing right in these areas. But, yeah, okay, that's a cool edit. Let's see. The next one here is from Jan. Oh, Jan. Oh, wow. Look at that. Did a fisheye on my image. That's cool. And then, of course, bringing the exposure up to just normal daylight. Because obviously I exposed this to try to preserve the highlights. Um, but yeah, that's a cool edit. Nice work on the exposure side too. And let's see, this one here. Oh, wow, look at that. William, I really like the color palette here. It's it sort of shifted it to a different, I don't know what to call it, but yeah, I like this. I like this color palette. Basically, you pulled all the blues out, and there's a slight vignette. Yeah, that's a really nice edit. I like it. It's a very different mood than what the original is, right? And the vertical crop works well. I think, yeah, I think that all works. That's a really good edit. And then this one here from Paul. Yeah, Paul went with the same vertical in a sepia. And yeah, this is yeah, this is good. Good processing here too with the tones and everything. And the same crop, it looks like. I think I did an image like that somewhere. I took about 5 or 6 pictures of that building. Okay. Oh, look at this. This is more of a gritty HDR look from Paul. Excuse me. Yeah, it looks good. Definitely a different look. It takes all the colors that are very muted otherwise, right? Obviously. But particularly in the wall here, I didn't think there was that much color in there. But I guess there could be. But yeah, I like it. I like it. Very contrasty, very punchy. And then this one from Bert, another nice vertical crop, except you didn't care about the poles here, which is fine. The poles are a little bit too tall without flags on them. Without the flags on here, I think it's okay to cut the poles off at the top. Obviously, if there were flags in here, it'd be more balanced, and then you could keep them. But without the flags, I think it's okay to crop like this and bring the building in a little closer with the street lamp. This is a really nice edit. A little bit of a glow on the ground. Nice nice pull on the colors here too. And the overall exposure, nice pull. So good job. Good job, Bert. I like it. And what is that? This one's from Garrett. Okay, Garrett. Garrett did kind of the opposite. You push the exposure down a little and then brightened up the highlights here. And a little bit of a glow here. So this is a little bit more like what I saw with the naked eye, to be honest. Very much like what I was seeing when I was looking at it. A little bit of a lighting. So just little, very subtle touches across the scene. So this is, I think Garrett was sort of interpreting the scene the way, as if this is how I wanted it exactly. And then sort of accentuated some of the highlights, like obviously the neon sign and the lamppost, a little bit here. Okay, you guys overall did a much better job today than I did on yours. I was really struggling today. I'm kind of tired. I don't know. I don't want to make excuses. I just didn't do a good job today, but it's good practice for me. Those were tough. I think my favorite edit, I guess I like I like this one with the bride. I thought that came out pretty good. But my favorite are the ones that you guys did. I'm sorry, I'm looking at the screens. I'm gonna have to look at, I think it's this one. But let me just kind of eyeball. This is a good one too. I think I'm gonna go with this because it's so different. I would have never thought of this. I like this one that Bert did, or I'm sorry, William did. This color palette is really interesting. I think that's my favorite. But yeah, and then this is much better. You guys all did much better than me. Ugh. All right. Well, that's how it should be, right? You guys should always be better than me. I'm not all that sometimes. Uh, so let me go into the chat. I thought I saw a question from Anthony. I don't know if you're still here, Anthony. But if you guys have any questions, I can stay in the chat for about 5-10 minutes here if you like. Bert says, Rob, it's a great stream. I learn a lot. Oh, okay. Thanks, Bert, for coming in. I'm happy to do it. I appreciate you guys sending your images in. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another video on DxO itself and then follow up with a live stream. Because these live streams are just sort of live, and I don't always articulate what I'm doing to your images, right? And some of you might be a little confused exactly what I'm doing or why I'm doing something. I don't know why. I try to be more verbal, but I wasn't. So um, I'll try and do that more in the future. Today, when I get quiet like I did today, it's because I'm really struggling with the image. Uh, it's not a bad image, right? They're nice photos you guys are sending in. Usually, okay, not all, but usually guys are sending in nice images, but I was struggling with them, and I got quiet. And so when I go into this like deep thought mode or intensity mode, like how am I going to make this, you know, how am I going to edit this image? I just start thinking fast, how I'm going to do something. Whereas some images, like I think the puffin image I got through pretty quickly. Because those I do all the time. I didn't have to think too much, right? You just kind of crop in, square crop, eyes, beak, talons, and then get rid of the noise. There's not much going on with bird photography editing, uh, but a lot of the other ones, like I've never really done weddings, but it's a portrait more or less, right? A lot of the other ones, the trees, the woodland forestry, I really struggle with. And I got like those two from Surge, and then oh, yeah. And then the portrait Garrett sent in, man, that was perfect. Just coming in out the box. There wasn't much editing to do there. But okay, let's see. Hi, Rob. Maybe for your great talks, a lot of the pieces are made in China, and consideration of the upcoming tariffs may significantly impact prices. Oh, this conversation came up when the tariffs went into place back when, I guess 8 years ago. And then they've been maintained up to this point, and there might be some additional tariffs, but nothing ever happened, right? Prices remain low, even though there's currently tariffs on stuff. Uh, and I don't know much about it, to be honest. So for me to talk about something I have no idea what I'm talking about, it wouldn't make sense. If prices go up, they go up. Why they go up is unimportant to me. Uh, because I just don't have any control over what prices are. So, yeah, I don't think I would talk about A lot of pieces made in China in consideration of upcoming may significantly impact prices in 2025. Yeah, I don't know, because I remember that came up like 8 years ago when they started putting tariffs on China, and ultimately I didn't really see any increases in prices, but maybe there were. It's hard for me to know what pieces exactly are getting tariffed and what aren't, right? Because they don't just do blanket tariffs, right? Sometimes they tariff specific types of products. So I just don't know enough about it. All I can do is just look at the current pricing. Okay. Uh, let's see. I didn't see another oh, yeah, there was one from Anthony. I don't know if Anthony's still here, but he had asked about what do I use for my main cataloging? I I don't do anything really cataloging wise. I just do everything chronologically. So if you guys can probably see if you're looking at my stream, I just have it here, 2025 first quarter, then day by day, right? And I labeled the day. I did a lot of backyard birding stuff. It's like half the photo things I did in January. Uh, but I just labeled a folder chronologically, and that's my cataloging system. I don't use keywords too much. And then so these are my basically everything I take with my camera, my photos, my photo walks, and then I have my clients here, and this is ordered by client name. So if I want to see like, you know, what I've done for K&M, these are the deliverables, and then I have the address of the property, or if I do events, golf, colleges, portraits. So I put client work in here, and then other stuff, right? If I do any classes, stuff for YouTube, astrophotography, the live streams, like today's live stream is here. So I just organize things. You can also do projects. Uh, I need to use this more, but this is a way to organize things without having to move folders and rename folders, right? You just create projects, and then you can add things in here. So I don't use this enough. Yeah, because my brain is always on up here, because the reason it being is I can't I can't back these up, but I guess this should be this could be a really very useful way to organize your photos using projects. I just don't do it enough. My brain is more organized around this. And then I have videos here. This is kind of random. These are my YouTube videos and stuff. So that's my cataloging. Now, Lightroom, I use Lightroom also, and I import things in Lightroom once in a while, particularly for my Pentax monochrome camera, because DxO is not able to edit Pentax monochrome, so I have to edit my photos in Lightroom for my Pentax stuff. So sometimes I import using Lightroom, but I don't really use Lightroom to catalog my photos. I use that sort of chronological and category type folder system on my computer directly. And then when I do backups, all I do is just copy that folder. So if I want to back up all my client stuff, all my photo stuff, I can just select the folder that I want to back up, and that'll be my backup. So that's a lot easier. If you use Lightroom, you have to back up the entire, I don't know, it's just a lot of overhead in Lightroom cataloging. For me, using folders, putting them in categories and chronologically, makes sense to me and it's easy for me to use just a simple file backup program. Copy this folder to this other drive. And let's see. Oh, you were surprised. Oh, yeah, the walls in that place. Yep. There was a lot of color there. And Pucho is here. Puncho, how you doing? Uh, Using Digicam photo catalog, an example, Digicam can tag, advanced search, face name photos. Thank you for your informative videos. That's cool. I think if I did more client work, because man, I lost another client in 2024. Can't believe it. It's not because of the work. The photography was fine. It's just so competitive here. If I raise my price, that's it. Because I was charging him like between 200 and 275 per job. And I did a property for him. It was like 5,000 square feet. I mean, it was a huge, no, it was huge, much bigger than it's like a warehouse. And it took me about 3 hours to photograph. Well, 2 hours on site, an hour round trip for driving. And I charged him 375. He didn't like it. I mean, I didn't argue with him. I just said, okay, it's okay. That's $375. And I spent a couple hours editing. So I got 5 or 6 hours on this job. I charged $375. And that was early 2024. And then he never sent me another job. And I've had this client for God, 5 or 6 years. And that was it. Because he found somebody, because there's a lot of people that'll do a job for $150 around here. I can't, I'm not driving out there and spending half a day photographing, driving around and taking pictures and editing for $150. I'd rather stay home and watch Netflix. Anyhow, yeah, that was brutal. So I kind of, because before the stream, that's partially I'm a little distracted. Before the stream started, I was kind of going through my assets, and I was like, God, I haven't heard from this guy in a long freaking time. And I was looking at the assets. I wasn't looking directly for my 2024. I wasn't trying to analyze my 2024 year, although tax season is here. I was looking for assets to use in the next video that I'm doing about Flash, and I do a lot of Flash photography for my architectural. Oh, I don't know why I'm ranting about this, but it upset me a little bit that I lost him for basically for charging. I felt like I didn't charge enough. I just hate losing a client when I feel like I'm giving them a really good deal. I'm certainly delivering quality images because what I'm looking at now, the photographer he has now, they're okay. They do a good enough job for for all intents and purposes, but I'm not going to deliver good enough. I'm always going to deliver my best. And I have to charge more if I'm going to do my best. I just can't imagine going to a client and saying, um, well, I can do it for less, but the photos won't be as good. They'll be good enough. Could you do that? I don't think I could do that for my clients. I always tell, just like on my YouTube, it's like I always want to do my best, right? And give you my best and give you my all. I don't want to just put something out and say, well, it's good enough, you know? Uh, but yeah, that upset me a little this morning thinking about that because I was pulling assets from that client's portfolio and I was like, man, I haven't seen him in a while. And then I looked at his website and I said, yeah, he's certainly gotten a lot of new properties and office buildings that I didn't take pictures of. Somebody else did. And I can only assume it was for price because the quality's not better. It's not, it's a notch below what I do for him. Clearly. Clearly, it's not as good as what I do. So they must be charging less, or I don't know why. Talking in general about work is very unfortunate. By and whole, a lot of business people, companies just want the cheapest whatever, something, something. Yeah, I mean, I get it, but I had a good relationship with this client, like, for years. And I remember when I first started with him, I was charging $125, regardless of the size of the product, because I was just getting started. And so it's probably been 8 years since I've been shooting for him. I've had him a long time. I'd have to look, see how many years I've been working with him. Uh, so going from $125 to 375 over 7 or 8 years, I don't think it's that much considering the quality of my work has gone up, and uh, and it's still cheaper because there's clients that I charge a lot more for, right? 450, $600 that I charge. Um, God, that reminds me, I lost another client because of pricing. I mean, it's not that much, right? I was charging him $400 for a property, and then I raised it to 450, and that's the very last job I ever got from them. And I've been dealing with him, I know, for 3 years. And I charged 375, then I charged 400, then last year I charged 450 per site. And that's the last job I ever got from them. I'm like, seriously? But, when you look at inflation and how inflation has been, my God, my electric bill has gone up like 50% in the last, I looked at it from 2 years ago. It's gone up almost, it feels like 50%. But I remember my bill was $103. This year it was 100 and like $148 or something. And I used less kilowatts, and it's like freezing my ass off in here. Otherwise I would use more electric, but it's gone up so much. So I didn't feel like adding $50, 10% to my price. Ugh. But yeah, they're just even, and I know they're still in business because I can go to their website and I can see photos, new photos from new properties, right? So it's not like they went out of business. But anyhow, uh, anyway, hey Rob, can you please make a video to clone the custom modes for OM1 Mark II to OM1 Mark to another OM1 Mark II? Yeah, you would just use OI share. Um, I don't have a Mark II, I have a Mark I, but I imagine it'd be the same. Thought I did one like that. 'Cause I've been asked this question before. I could have sworn I did a video, but I can do another one. It wouldn't take long. I could probably do it right now in the live stream. It's very simple. Um, you just connect your camera, your OM1 Mark II, to your camera via OI share, load the settings into the app, and then connect your other OM1 Mark II, and then offload the settings from the phone back onto the camera. I mean, that's kind of the overall logistics of it. There's a little bit of fine print there, but that's pretty much it. But I'll see what I can do. Plenty of layers on today. Yes, absolutely. I got my cardigan, I got my vest, I got my shirt, and then I got a very thick uh, t-shirt underneath, very thick. It's almost like a sweatshirt underneath. And you can see I'm holding this, man, this warm coffee on a heater. And I walk around my house with my hand warmers that I talk about in my shopping streams. Anyhow, we're done editing. You guys, I will be back. Sunday's going to be a good day. We're going to have, I got 5 guests coming on, talk about Micro Four Thirds. going to talk about a lot about photography and show some images from all of these other photographers. So I hope I see you guys on Sunday for that, the 7th annual Micro Four Thirds meetup. I can't believe it's been 7 years, but we're going to do that on Sunday. And, I got a lot of great questions lined up for each of them to talk about how they capture images using Micro Four Thirds gear, why Micro Four Thirds is, you know, still a great option and will be for the foreseeable future, in my opinion. So you guys have a great uh, weekend, and I'll see you on Sunday.